Hi, y'all. I'm a Southerner, so you may hear y'all a couple times. I am delighted to be here tonight. I know some people in the room. How many of you in the room were in a focus group with me and the team at some point this fall? Yeah, okay, cool. So the folks who raised your hands, you played a huge role in what you're about to see tonight. We can't do this work by ourselves. So the relationships that we have with our clients is that they know their institutions really well, and we know marketing and advertising and branding really well. So when those two come together, it kind of makes magic. And so the time that we spent here meeting with you guys was just critical. And so before we go out to the marketplace with the JA story, it's really important that we, one, say thank you for being involved in this process and share this with you. This is a night of celebration. The band was playing earlier. It was great. There are brownies in a band. Who doesn't want to be in Jackson when that's happening, right? So the process I'm going to lead tonight is, it's a little left-brained in the beginning, so there's some copy, and then we're going to get into the kind of more visual, juicy stuff at the end. But I'm going to tell it to you. The reason I'm taking you through this journey is because it's important for you to know the strategy behind how we got to this kind of brand platform for JA. So we have a half an hour, and I'm a fast talker, so I think we can make this happen. So we've never had a greater need to demonstrate our value at JA than right now. Here's the situation at JA. You've been quietly building reputation, right? You're doing really good things. STEM labs, one-to-one programs, engineering classes, right? All that are positioning you among Jackson, Mississippi, and maybe the South's kind of top day schools. So what's the problem, right? You're doing really great things. Maybe you haven't known how to talk about what you're doing. Maybe you haven't been confident enough, or a lot of times what clients will say, we're doing this like amazing work, we have no idea how to talk about it, right? So that's why we get hired, is to listen to your stories and say, wow, this is how they should be talking about themselves, and they should be telling their story in the marketplace in this way. So enter Mindpower. So our assignment is you ask for a brand platform. We'll talk about branding in just a second, a little bit more about what we call brandology. But you ask for a brand platform that is grounded in JA's authentic strengths. Not just strengths, because every school has it, but what are your authentic strengths? What's different about JA? What's going to differentiate you among the competition? What does that look like? What does it sound like? It needs to support your recruitment efforts and fundraising and friend raising, right? All kinds of things that this platform needs to support. It needs to work across multiple platforms. The work that we do is build websites, shoot TV commercials, print materials, banner ads, digital. So whatever we do and create needs to work on all of those platforms. We also have been on the ride since last February with the mission statement work. So what you're seeing tonight builds on what Cliff just talked about, right? So our due diligence, so some of you who are scholars in the room will know how we got where we got, right? Where we are tonight. So before we bring a team of people to campus, we say, tell us who the competition is, what do they say about you, what do you think they say about you, what do they say about themselves, what data do you have, what are your alums saying, are people happy, are they giving? So there's all this due diligence that we do. And then we come to campus with a team of people, a writer, a designer, an art director, and sometimes a digital strategist or a project manager. And so we come to campus, we interviewed probably 100 to 125 people. Students, the little guys are so cute, right? We visit classrooms, and they're so stinking cute, right? So we get to families, parents, faculty, staff, alums. When I go out to eat with my sister in Jackson, I'll say, what do you know about JA? And then I get all of that, too, where it's sort of like not people who are inside the room, who have already had the Kool-Aid for a long time, right? So I get the outside. So we ask a lot of questions. And here's a little bit, I'm going to share with you a little bit about what we heard. JA students want to do better, to learn more, and to succeed. Right? So when we were here, we asked about philosophy and values. What do you value here? Here are just some, we have reams of notes, tons of them. So I'm just pulling out maybe 25 of them so you have a sense of what the themes were, so I don't repeat a lot of stuff. This is the place for well-rounded children. We excel in athletics, academics, and the arts, all of them. We don't want to just have good students, we want to have good kids. right? I have some pressure cooker clients. Good kids is nice, but it's a fire hose of information the entire time academically, right? So that balance is not always quite there. Faith is important here. We ask about innovation and leadership. Leadership, meaning the leadership here, is really asking why. Why we're doing the things we've always done. Can we do things better? Can we do them differently? What does education need to look like at JA? We've taken a good, honest look at everything we do. We ask the question, what does JA promise? People are investing money to be here, sometimes for a very long time. So what do you promise those families? What do you promise new faculty or staff that come in the door? We're willing to take the time to find out who the child is, the individual child, right? The one. What they need and how to help. We ask about academics. The first step of going to student-centered is letting go of teacher-centered. It's not just about what the teacher knows. It's about what the student can learn. So let's make it about them and not so much about us. We're willing to take calculated risks and offer support to help borderline students be successful. It's the kind of community we are that's important to us. It's intentional. We ask about faculty. We have better teachers, of course. There was this, well, of course we have better teachers than the competition does down the street, right? They care about your child, not just as a student, but as a human being, as a person. About students. We have a very compassionate student body. They really are, and they're sweet. You know, they're good kids. We serve average to above average students who are good fits and can do the work. And we said, what do you mean by good fit? And we got this answer 2 or 3 times. If you're not committed to excellence, you're not a good fit. But you also can't define excellence as only test scores and national merit scholars. Excellence is doing the work and doing your best. Let's get out of the numbers game. Because if everybody's in the numbers game, nobody's in the numbers game. And it becomes really hard to compete, right? So let's be clear about what you really care about, what's really important. The numbers game is somewhat, but not the crux. Faith and Christianity came up a lot. We said, talk to us about being Christian. What does that mean here? We don't advertise that we're a Christian school, but if you come here, you'll see it. You'll experience it, you'll feel it. We ask about who's the competition. Talk a little bit about the competition. We need to be confident in who we are in relation to the competition. We've been a little less than in our confidence than the competition has. Kathy Hansen is a good friend. Baylor's been our client for 10 years, and that's how I know Kathy. And she and I say the same thing. If you don't tell your story, somebody else will. Right? So that's why our clients hire us to go through this process, is to say, wow, how should we be telling our story, and how do we tell it before somebody else does? We also ask about the value proposition. What is the most valuable? What's valuable to people here? I love this quote, it used to be hard to explain why you should pay $8,000 for what we had. Now there's a lot to say about why you should pay $14,000, right? That's a major shift. JA felt like the most well-rounded when we looked at schools. We felt it could accommodate our kid, whoever the kid is. Like, it's about the kid. And if I had 2 different kids or 3 very different kids, then the individual, the process of individual attention and the focus on the child, whatever their passions are, we felt like that would fit in here. We ask about community. That's a word that came up a lot. Cliff said that earlier. This is the most welcoming, warm, friendly, almost church-like community I've ever been a part of. I've been in Mississippi private schools my entire life. I've never seen one as community-minded as JA. It's so in tune with the community, open to it and supportive of it. So what do we take away from all of that? So when our team goes back to Atlanta from a visit, like our 2-day discovery visit, we say, okay, what are the real attributes of the particular place? And so with the real attributes of JA, what we took back, and the reason we list these is because when we do our marketing, we need to make sure that people understand and know, not exactly necessarily these words, but that the takeaway that they have, that we make sure that those attributes are present in what we do. So here are the things that came up. Here's another good list of words for you. Community, family, well-rounded, good kids, innovative, progressive, right? Inclusive, character, leadership, balance, faith, challenging, happy. You have happy kids. They're great. They're delightful to meet, right? Excellence, traditional values, student-centered, intentional, supportive, welcoming. One parent said, man, I wish I could have gone here. It would have been great. Like, this is an amazing place, right? So that was kind of the on-campus, what is about this place? What is it about? What do we take away from it? What are its attributes? And so then we have to turn that into kind of the brandology of it all. And so it's important a little bit. I'll do a little bit of a lesson on branding. So a brand is the essence of the place itself. The essence of JA. It's not your logo, it's not your t-shirts, it's not your sports team, it's not your color palette, it's not your fonts and all that kind of stuff. It is the essence and the soul of the place. My DNA is never going to change, but how I dress might change over time, right? So there are two parts to the work that we do with clients. One is to capture the essence of the place, the DNA. The other is to dress it, right? To decide how we express that in the world. What does it look like? What does it sound like, right? So there's two parts. Branding is another word for integrity. You claim what you do really, really well. What do you have integrity around? That wraps into the brand. It's a claim of distinction, right? What is it that sets you apart from other schools? We were trying to figure that out. It's a promise that you deliver on. We do not, under any circumstance, want to go out into the marketplace and say, here's who we are and here's what we do. Oh, and by the way, we can't actually do that. We can't really back that up, right? So we need to make sure that if we're going to claim it, that it actually happens, that it's authentically happening at school all the time. It doesn't change. DNA doesn't change. So the campaign might change, how you wrap it up might change, but for the most part, there is a heart and soul to this place, and that's its essence, right? So the campaigns may change over time, but the place is not going to. It's the focal point on how you deliver value, and it embodies the mission. So it was really nice for us to be able to be part of the mission work and then be able to then come back and say, wow, is the work that you're doing around mission really what we felt as visitors to JA? And then how do we continue to build on that in terms of brand? And then what we call is like, okay, so what's the big idea here? Like, what's the big idea with JA? Why do they exist? What are they doing? What are they promising in the world, right? So the JA brand is rooted in your history. You're about to see it. It's rooted in the history. Why do you exist? Why were you founded? What's relevant today? How do we pull all that together? It reflects the values of the place, right? It's got to. It's got to show the benefit of what you do, the activities, why people pay to be part of this community. What's the return? Sets you apart. We already talked about that a little bit, but let's just remind you, it's got to be a differentiator. And then this is, I think, one of the most powerful parts of what we call branding or brandology. It's this sense of compelling reason to affiliate. I'll use two examples. A Harley-Davidson rider would never buy a Honda because they're going to affiliate with a particular kind of culture, right? I'm a Mini Cooper driver because it's little and sassy like me, right? So there's this sense of if I know what a brand or a company or a school or anything, what do they believe in? What's the value that they bring? What does that look like? I then get to say, wow, I want to affiliate with that one, I think, rather than this one, right? This one is this, and they say that they're that, but that's not really me and my family. Really, it's this one, if I'm clear about it, that I want to affiliate with. So good branding and good marketing allows the market, the public, the families, the donors, the friends, the community partners to say, wow, I'm clear about what they believe in, I'm clear about what they do, and I'm clear about their values. That's really where I want to affiliate. That's where I want to spend my money. That make sense? Okay. So here's a brand platform for JA. This is kind of the distillation of the essence part. The essence of this place. If we are for you, then who can stop you? The brand promise is we believe in you. Whether you're a student, if you're a staff member, if you're a family, we promise that. The values of the place in terms of its brand: community, character, innovation, and achievement. That's what we value. We had to distill that down from that long list, but that's what we have. The personality is confident, smart, welcoming, and progressive. Thank you very much, that's my personality, right? So we've got to, like, when we shoot photography, when we put voice into the work, we've got to make sure that that personality is clear. You're not boring and vanilla and gray, right? So we've got to, like, what's the personality of this place? And so in terms of marketing, we think about that. And how we are going to express the essence of this place is that we are all for one. So here's what that's going to look like. Here's the brand statement that our writers created based on what we heard from all of you. At Jackson Academy, no one goes it alone. Here, you are surrounded by a community of supporters, all dedicated to helping you identify your greatest talents, develop your particular gifts, and live with a strong sense of faith and purpose. All of us, all behind you, with all our hearts, all for one. That's the JA way.